Dennis Hildeby is so good.
I know.
I mean, I always kind of liked him, but like, who knew he was this good?
I hoped he was this good. I didn't know it, though.
Caden Primo, though?
It's over. It's in the past. You're right.
Let's go! It starts with an A and ends with anxiety. Off the charts levels of passion! This is a nightmare! With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Victory, puppies! There's another $50 for the Humane Society of Durham region. Leafs win 2-0 over the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Dennis Hildeby, the Beast, gets his first career NHL shutout. Apparently, the new number of the Beast is 0. Huh? Is that good? Did I do good? He can't use it every game, though. He's not going to get a shutout every game. Should it be the new number of the Beast is 35? Should I just not go down that path and do something else with Beast? There's a lot of possibilities here, and last year, I didn't think he had this in him, right? So I wasn't really coming up with nicknames. Dennis Hildeby looked fantastic. The Leafs kind of looked fantastic. Let's talk about it. But first, Fanatics is your go-to source for NHL apparel. Whatever you need, the newest jersey, a vintage hat, all the gear for the player we're about to draft first overall, they have it. Player we're about to draft first overall? Drew! That wasn't funny, producer Drew! Anyway, sometimes you need to elevate your game. And that's where the Lululemon Fanatics NHL Collection comes in. This Lululemon gear allows you to rep your team with subtle, high-quality embroidery and clean designs, making it ideal for game day or non-game day situations, like shooting an LFR. Did you notice the pants earlier? Did you notice the pants? Don't act like you didn't notice the pants. You noticed what's in them. It's all those lunges and banded walks. Whether you're looking for an official jersey, a classic team hat, or the absolute peak of premium comfort gear, Fanatics is your destination. Check out the entire world of NHL merchandise, including the newest sleek Lululemon NHL collection, available for all 32 teams. Head over to fanatics.com and gear up with the best. Now let's talk about it. I keep getting asked if the Leafs are back, and I've been asked this for a couple weeks now, and I think when people started, they were kidding. Now, I think they're still kidding. But there's hope behind the kidding. It's not just this shutout. Get a load of this stat. From James Myrtle, the Leafs have allowed 10 goals in their last 7 games, including tonight. First in the NHL. Hildeby coming up big again. Now, obviously, Joseph Woll was involved in several of those games, and in the games that he's played this season, he's been very good. But Dennis Hildeby has been every bit as good, at least. And the team in front of Woll, the team in front of Hildeby, oh my goodness, I don't recognize these guys. This kind of run defensively for the Leafs, and not to mention actually stringing some points in the standings and wins together, was unimaginable the way they were playing a month ago. Less than a month ago. It wasn't just that they were like bottom 3 in the league in goals against. They were bottom 3 in the league in basically every category. Shots against, scoring chances against, actually getting scored on. Wasn't it like a month into the season or something and the Leafs were top 3 in goals for, but also bottom 3 in goals against? Part of that is the failed Caden Primo experiment. He actually had like a somewhat decent record as a Leaf. People forget that. A lot of it was Anthony Stolarz not being close to what he was last season. I think he played at least 2 weeks hurt, and I mean, the proof is in the pudding. He's been out a long time, and it looks like he's going to be out a long time still. But look, here's a picture of him after the game when Dennis Hildeby got the belt. Wool's there too. There's 4 goalies in this picture. That's wild. Also, that's what Artur Akhtumov looks like. Now you know. But goaltending aside, most of it was the team in front of the goaltending being dog buttocks awful. Now, they got a bunch of injuries. They weren't very good before the injuries. They got some guys back. They still have injuries, significant ones on the back end. Tanev is a huge loss for this team. And Carlo, he's another guy who I think at the beginning of the season, like, dude, at no point in his NHL career was he ever that bad. Did the Leafs pay too much to get him? Yeah, okay. But, like, he's not complete talk water. He was good enough to beat the Leafs in a couple series. What? Huh? A lot of guys were having hot starts to their seasons, and actually most of the guys who had a hot start to their season, they've cooled off. John Tavares has cooled off in a big way. He had a big play in this game, though. William Nylander has cooled off in a huge way. Nyes is still contributing, but he's not just lighting it up like he was. But they're not trying to win games 6-5, 7-6 anymore. They look like the Leafs of last year. They win tight checking games, they play exhausting, and they're kind of jerks. And yeah, they get the occasional save. Dennis Hildeby was very sharp in this game. The two best saves from this game were probably by defensemen. Troy Stetcher and Jake McCabe just saved 2 straight up goals. Take away the empty netter with less than a second left, Tampa should have won that game. But they didn't! Anyway, it sounds like I'm filling for time because there was only one real goal in this game. And I am. But it's important. Near the end of the first period, Morgan Rielly. It's very important to give him his flowers here. Last game, I called him out. A lot of Leaf fans called him out. His head coach called him out. He just didn't use his name. Berube was upset that the Leafs missed the net in their last game against the Montreal Canadiens 15 times. Well, Morgan Rielly led the way with 5 misses. As Jesse Blake pointed out on today's podcast, where we said Morgan Rielly is probably going to score in this game, by the way, he had the puck on his stick for a shot attempt 9 times. 2 of them were shots on goal. 2 of them were blocked. 5 missed the net entirely. This is a guy who is on the ice with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. There's another very offensively capable player. Matthews is out there. Domi is out there. Nyes is out there. Tavares is out there. Willie's out there. Cowan's out there. If you're taking that shot, it better be a good one. Last game, it extraordinarily wasn't. And this one, oh, you went to the Buzz Lightyear School of Falling with Style. Morgan Rielly is driving the net, which I have absolutely no problem with him doing, by the way. Honestly, he should probably do it more, as long as he has the forward support. The Lightning, they got their sticks out, they're playing D, he fumbles it. But he completely fools Jonas Johansson, and I think maybe even surprises himself, gathers it, pulls it to the backhand, tucks it, crashes. Yeah! Are you alright? He's alright! Yeah! Morgan Rielly, his 5th of the season, and the Leafs open the scoring. And that, my friends, 16 and a half minutes into the game, would be the first and only time that a goalie was scored on in this game. Now look, one other thing that we talked about on the podcast today is the accountability on this team. Berube calls out Rielly's performance without naming him. And he's also talked about Nick Robertson. Nick Robertson, who was a scratch in this game. Now, it's probably easier to scratch Nick Robertson than Morgan Rielly, especially when Tanev and Carlo are out. But when I looked at the configuration of the power play today, I saw that Morgan Rielly was promoted to power play 1. And I'm like, really, dude? But here's the benefit of the doubt that Rielly gets. He just passed 900 games, not just in the NHL, but with this franchise. You have a veteran who has given you the years that Rielly has, who has a bad game like that. You give him the opportunity to make up for it. I'm not saying he had a perfect game. He didn't. But right from opening puck drop, you could tell he had a point to prove with this one. There was an extra pep in his step. And the only thing I was thinking is, please don't let this lead to a mistake that cost them a goal. It didn't! It led to him scoring one! He's got 5 goals on the season and 17 assists. That's 22 points in 28 games. Does that sound good to you? Well, that's because it is. If he plays all 82 games, he is on pace for 64 points, which would be the 3rd best total of his career, and he's had some high totals. Everybody remembers 2018-2019 when he had 72 points, because in those 72 points, he had 20 goals. No one really remembers 21-22 when he had 68 points, because only 10 of them were goals. Only. In case you're wondering, by the way, he's on pace for 14 goals. Now, the criticism with Morgan Rielly has not been his offense. I mean, no one's happy with the power play, but that's a lot more than one guy. Oftentimes, it's decision-making, usually in his own end, and often just... There have been too many times this year where something goes wrong, catastrophically wrong, and you're like, Mo! And I'm willing to bet no one is more aware of that than Mo, who during the offseason, he was called out by his GM, by his coach. He called himself out. And do you remember the first game of the season before it broke us and we lost all hope? He was the best player on the ice that night for either team. And then it aggressively went away. The points remained, the MVP performances did not. Whatever you think about the guy, they need him. And they need this version of him. He is the story of this team. You know what he's capable of. Can you give it to us every shift, every night? That's the story of a lot of guys wearing blue and white in this one. But what did we see? timely saves from Hildeby. Getting outshot at times, they ended up evening it up. It never really felt like Tampa was all that dangerous. Their two best chances, legitimately, both beat Hildeby, but they did not beat Troy Stetcher, and they did not beat Jake McCabe. And it was just a very tactical game. I don't know how much like a casual fan would have loved that game. I loved watching it. There were some big hits in that one. Benoit caught someone. McCabe ran over Rielly. Gensel was trying to get his lick back on Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who wrecked him like last year. Was it last year? I think it was last year. Remember when the Leafs like beat up the Lightning 5-0? It was great. And then when they were up like 5-0, Oliver Ekman-Larsson just runs over Gensel for no good reason. Now, there's always a good reason. It's his face. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but like, if he's not on your team, I don't think you're allowed to like him. Look at this. I'm not saying the structure of his face. I'm saying the way he makes the face. You know that Winter Classic clip or Stadium Series, whatever the heck it's called, when Travis Konechny is driving him nuts and he tells him to take those ear cuffs off? Which isn't a thing. Ear cuffs are not a thing. And Gensel just goes, "Shut up!" I was like, yeah, no, I like Travis on this one. That was good. Good work, Travis. But anyway, he tried to get Ekman-Larsson back by hitting him into Hildeby, which I thought was greasy, which is just, the Lightning are so sneaky greasy. Where it got crazy, and there might be fines or suspensions, was in the third period. Mermis is down on the ice, and that's all the Leafs need, is another defenseman to be down, and I feel sick for Dakota Mermis. His game was getting so much better. The Leafs should be an opportunity for him to go to the next place in his career. When he signed with the Leafs, he played over 50 games with the Minnesota Wild the season before. Comes to Toronto, plays all right in the preseason, breaks his jaw. Leafs try to send him to the minors to recover. Utah claims him. Utah plays him. He's terrible because he wasn't supposed to be in the NHL yet. Utah puts him back on waivers. The Leafs claim him back. He gets into the lineup this season. He is horror awful. Starts playing a little bit better. In fact, much better. Blows his knee out because of Goncalves, and that could be a long-term injury, man. The Leafs laid a perfectly clean hit moments before. It's hard to look at that and not think Goncalves is trying to go out and get his pound of flesh. The broadcast kept talking about where his eyes are. I don't care where his eyes were facing. People have peripheral vision, dude. His knee stays in one straight path, and it went straight through the leg of Mermis. Not cool. Brouhaha breaks out, and Dakota Joshua fights Crozier, and it was a decent tilt. They review it, and Goncalves gets 5 in a game, and he gets kicked out of the game, and I thought, good. And then they're like, and Bobby McMahon gets a match penalty, and I'm like, Robert McMahon. And then you're like, where? What? And you watch the replay, and he hits Oliver Bjorkstrand over the head with a stick, and you go, oh. Here's what is extremely annoying to me about that play. Your first question that you ask is, why would Bobby McMahon do that? Well, why would Bobby McMahon do that? Because Oliver Bjorkstrand gets him up high. Did he cross-check him in the face or neck? I don't think quite. But like, close enough. And McMahon, I think it was just one of those things where he wasn't thinking. He bonked Bjorkstrand on top of the head. Maybe an unpopular opinion in Leafs Nation. You have to kick him out. We cannot have a league where guys are just going around bonking each other on the head with their stick. That's crazy. We can't have it, even though it was light. Here's what I would hate to see, because Goncalves got 5 and tossed. McMahon got 5 and tossed, so I think it was just offsetting, which, how often do you see offsetting majors? Shh, don't say fighting penalties. Those don't count. When you think about it, yeah. But no. What I would hate is after the fact, if McMahon were to get as much or more of a punishment than Goncalves, because what Goncalves did was injure a guy. Like Mermis, we might not see him for weeks or months. Knees are tricky. Bjorkstrand was just sort of like, why did you do that? Because he didn't swing hard. It was dumb. He got kicked out. I personally think that's enough. If you're Tampa, I think you should take it. The Leafs lost 2/3 of their third line in one swoop there with Joshua and McMahon. I think maximum McMahon gets fined. Goncalves, I think, should maybe get a game. Because I can tell you this, Mermis is going to miss a lot more than that. In the dying moments of the game, John Tavares, he just has to get it out. And he knows he's got to take a hit to make a play. Aaron Radish comes in and hits him up high. And if you think I'm being a whining Leafs fan, Go and watch the play so you can see John Tavares' face move. It's a high hit. It's not a great hit. Regardless, Tavares makes it and he gets up to see if the puck is going in. He doesn't whine about it or nothing. Nyes chases it down. He's not quite able to chase it down enough. Puck comes back into the Leaf zone. There's a battle in the corner after like 46 icings, by the way. And Matthews, the no-looker, all the way down the ice, dead center. A goal that he wholeheartedly deserved with the game he had. Oh my goodness, did Johansson rob him earlier with the butt end of his stick. Hard-fought goal, hard-fought win, 2 big points. The Leafs are now 1 point back of third in the Atlantic. They're just 2 points behind the wildcard teams. It's December. We don't need to do this every single video, but when you were sitting dead last in the Eastern Conference like 2 weeks ago, every win is a big win. The Lightning are one of the hottest teams in the NHL since the end of October, and they are leading the Atlantic Division. That's a big win. Just want to highlight a couple things. The nighttime cold medication is kicking in. From Kyle Cushman, Dennis Hildeby underwent double hip surgery in 2021. He was selected by the Leafs the next summer in his final year of draft eligibility, thanks to goalie scout John Elkin. Easy to root for guys who have an unconventional or longer path. Love that Hildeby is coming up big here. Here's a question. Do you think the shutout was all beast, or do you feel like their D stepped up too? Almost anytime there's an NHL shutout, it's because the D played well in front of the goalie. It's so difficult and so rare for a goalie to just completely stand on their head and steal the show. You need some help from the entire team in front of you. You're a goalie, you're stepping on the ice with 18 guys who have the same uniform, and you need them. And lastly, going forward, when Woll and Stolarz are both healthy, if Hildeby keeps up his solid play, do you consider rolling a 3-man rotation? The only way I would consider something like that if this was close to playoff time and you didn't have enough time to reevaluate Anthony Stolarz, that's probably not going to happen. Both your goalies, who you have locked up and have proven that they can give you very, very, very good games, once they're back, you play them. Hildeby goes back down to the minors. Now, you could trade one of them. You could. And I don't think the one that you should trade is Hildeby. This got pointed out on the podcast the other day, by the way. I had no idea how sweet this was. Brad Treliving has taken a beating recently, but this is some of his finest work. Dennis Hildeby is in the first year of a 3-year contract, where his cap hit is under $842,000, which means next season and the season after, he will be a goalie, a really good goalie, with a cap hit of $842,000. And when that contract expires, he will still be a restricted free agent. Bradley! If Hildeby puts you in a position where he forces you to make a decision, good. That's the dream of every NHL team, to have too many good goalies. My friends, for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. How is this video this long for a 2-goal game? Producer Drew, I am so sorry. I'm going to bed.